Welcome back to the channel. Today we're jumping into 7 of the worst new motorcycles that leave buyers full of regret. Let's get into it. Number 7. The Honda Shadow Phantom. The Shadow Phantom looks like it's got that rebellious edge, but once you're in the saddle it's more like being trapped behind a minivan during rush hour. Sure, it has the darked out styling, that low-slung seat, and just enough attitude to make you believe your $8,000 bought something daring. But as soon as you hit the road, reality smacks you harder than waiting in line at the DMV. That 745cc V-twin engine, it's about as thrilling as a lukewarm cup of decaf coffee. It's fine for short runs around town, but the moment you try merging onto the highway, you'll wish you'd gone with anything even slightly more spirited. It's not just slow, it's the kind of sluggish that makes you wonder if you accidentally left the parking brake on. Comfort? Imagine sitting on a park bench with wheels. The rear suspension is so stiff you'll feel every pothole your city ever neglected. And while that low seat height may sound appealing, it kills cornering clearance. You'll be scraping pegs before the fun even starts. Tech-wise, don't expect much. No ride modes, no traction control, and on some models, not even ABS. For nearly $9 grand, you're basically buying a Spiamano in a slice of regret. In resale value, it plummets faster than your excitement after the first week. Bottom line, the Shadow Phantom nails the look but lacks the soul. You're paying for style, but the ride just doesn't deliver. This engine runs hot. Cook an egg on your leg hot, especially in traffic. Number 6. Harley-Davidson Nightster. The Nightster claims to blend Harley's soul with a modern minimalist look, but somehow manages to trip over almost everything. With a starting tag just over $13,000, it seems decent until you realize what you're missing. The 9075cc Revolution Max engine sounds great on paper, but out on the road it's more forgettable than fierce. It doesn't have the punch Harley loyalists expect. Instead of a roaring cruiser, you get something that feels like it's still figuring out what it wants to be. Build quality leans more toward plastic than premium. For a brand built on steel and legacy, that's disappointing. Suspension? Stiff enough to rattle your teeth. And the ergonomics confused at best. It's as if Harley couldn't choose between a laid-back cruiser or an aggressive cafe racer, so they awkwardly settled in the middle, and it shows. The worst part, by the time you add taxes, fees and basic upgrades to make it bearable, you're close to $16,000 deep. At that point, a used Fat Bob with real soul suddenly makes a lot more sense. Bottom line, the Nightster is what happens when tradition meets trend and neither wins. Ride it long enough and you'll realize it's not the Harley you brag about, it's the one you quietly trade in. This engine runs hot. Cook an egg on your leg hot, especially in traffic. Number 5. Kawasaki Eliminator. The Kawasaki Eliminator looks fun at first glance but ends up feeling like something you'd find on Craigslist under Must Go. At just under $7,000, it's marketed as a sleek modern cruiser, yet somehow lands awkwardly between beginner bike and midlife crisis. Sure, it's light and low, but push past 55 miles per hour and that 451cc parallel twin sounds like it's begging for mercy. Twist the throttle and you'll quickly learn this isn't a muscle cruiser, it's the gym membership you stopped using. Comfort? The seat feels like it was modeled after a cafeteria tray. Give it 45 minutes and your back will file a complaint. Rear shocks don't help either, especially if you're heavier or your roads are full of craters. Despite the urban rebel image, it doesn't even come with a gear indicator. You're basically guessing like a lost tourist. Fuel economy isn't terrible, but with a tiny 3.7-gallon tank, you'll be seeing gas stations way too often for a supposed commuter. And resale? It lingers on the used market longer than a bad dating profile. In short, the Eliminator wants to be cool but ends up feeling like a tribute band trying to cover someone else's hit. If it's on your list, maybe eliminate it first.
Yeah.
Here's Prusty. This engine runs hot. Cook an egg on your leg hot, especially in traffic. Number 4. BMW R18. The BMW R18 is a big flashy cruiser that turns heads, but mostly for the wrong reasons once you've bought it. Starting around $16,000 and easily climbing past $20K with extras, it becomes an expensive piece of garage art for many owners. Sure, it oozes retro appeal and promises German engineering excellence, but on the road it's more of a heavy, clumsy attempt to challenge Harley that ends up tripping over itself. That massive 1100cc boxer twin delivers torque, no doubt, but in traffic it feels like too much engine and too little finesse. Tipping the scales at almost 800 pounds, even simple parking maneuvers feel like competing in a strongman contest. Maintenance, classic BMW pricey oil changes, valve work and parts. Drop it once, as many new owners admit to, and you'll be staring at a repair bill that makes you rethink your life choices. Resale falls off faster than day-old guacamole. Bottom line, the R18 looks like a dream when parked, but once you ride it, it feels more like a regretful Tinder date, costly, awkward, and tough to sell. Number 3. Triumph Rocket 3. The Triumph Rocket 3 is a paradox on wheels, built to impress but easy to overwhelm. Starting at around $24,000, it's one of the most expensive ways to say I bought too much bike. Sure, that 2500cc engine, the largest on any production motorcycle, is insane, but that's like using a chainsaw to slice a birthday cake. Weighing nearly 700 pounds, every corner, every lane change feels like a workout. Power? Absolutely. Comfort? Not so much. The rear suspension looks sharp but feels brutal, especially when potholes start showing up. Fuel economy? Laughable. Around 30 mpqs if you're gentle, though nobody buys a Rocket 3 to be gentle. Insurance and parts aren't cheap either, and if you drop it, which isn't hard, expect a painful bill. In the end, the Rocket 3 is a statement piece that rides like a heavy burden. Proof that sometimes bigger really isn't better, especially when it comes with chiropractor visits. With its engine runs hot, cook an egg on your leg hot, especially in traffic. Number 2. Harley-Davidson Road Glide. The Road Glide is a $25,000 mix of sleek touring looks and post-purchase disappointment. On paper, it's the ultimate cross-country dream, big V-twin, frame-mounted fairing, and that signature Harley attitude. But after the sale, reality sets in. At nearly 900 pounds, it handles like a hungover couch, low-speed control feels like a gym session, and parking is basically docking a ship. The infotainment system sounds advanced, but acts like it was designed by someone who's never touched a smartphone. Glitches, lag, dropped Bluetooth, it's all there. The Milwaukee 8 engine throws off enough heat to roast your legs within miles. Despite its premium price, the suspension refuses to smooth out bumps, treating every pothole like a wake-up call. Fuel efficiency? You'll be best friends with your gas station clerk. The exhaust note is loud, but less rumble and more neighborhood complaint. It drops just as hard as your enthusiasm. The Road Glide isn't the worst bike, but it's a very costly lesson in test ride before you buy. Its purpose is litter. Number 1. Indian Chief. The Indian Chief is the definition of all show, no go. It looks like a $17,000 slice of American heritage, but after a week of riding, it's clear the money went into chrome, not performance. Its 1111 Ci engine and vintage stance look great on paper, but on the road it handles like a floating barge. Nearly 700 pounds and corners with all the eagerness of a retired buffalo. Features? Barely there. No ride modes, no modern safety tech, and a display that makes a flip phone seem futuristic. The suspension feels like it was tuned by someone who believes pain builds character. Highway rides test your spine. City rides test your patience. The heat output? It roasts your thighs like a backyard barbecue. Finding service is another ordeal. Indian dealers are scarce. Parts are pricey and slow to ship. Resale value tanks hard. The Indian Chief looks gorgeous in your driveway but feels like regret on 2 wheels. On paper, that's enough punch to make both city and highway rides enjoyable. But here's the catch. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe for more brutally honest motorcycle reviews. The Ron